What's good? You're watching the best damn comic show. Let's get into the picks of the week.
But I'm looking at this week, I'm like, man, this is a lot. It feels slower.
Yeah, it does.
Green Lantern #1. I'm curious. I mean, look, it's Grant Morrison. As much as I talk about it, the guy is Grant Morrison. He can write, but it's just I'm more concerned about Liam Sharp's artwork because with Morrison, he's the type of writer that he's out there.
Yeah.
And it takes an artist to bring him in.
Right.
And his best artist, in my opinion, is Frank Quietly.
Right.
Quietly brings him in because some of his stories are just
they're all over
out
the place,
there. I mean,
yeah.
The Superman stuff, I mean, All-Star Superman, I mean, even his X-Men. And you could tell the difference from artist to artist, especially with his X-Men run, from artist to artist, how bad it was. And, I mean, Quietly was great. Then somebody else took over that was just made no sense. Then Phil Jimenez came in, I believe, for a few issues, and it made no, that was on Invisibles. But with New X-Men, even when Silvestri took over, I mean, it was just, it's hard. He's hard to reel in.
Some guys are just made to draw for other guys.
I've
like
been
Steve
told
McNiven and Mark Millar, they know each other. He knows
of course they're teams.
The artists
like Jim Lee and Scott Williams.
It just talks about it's something to say about artists. Like they when you send them a script, man, they have to go through some shit.
I've said it before. The artist in certain cases becomes the better storyteller than the writer. And that gives you a better product.
Right.
And when you have a good writer with a good artist that understands. I mean, I can name some teams, and you're just hooked on it. Like, give me some more. But
I mean, that sounds kind of like it's like filmmaking. In feature films, the director will take someone's script and totally make it into his own thing. By the end of the film, that original script you had is nowhere near the same. So I mean, I could feel like that. It's kind of like that.
But I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how they
give it a
try.
He does. All right, well, let's get into Marvel. What do you got for Marvel this week?
Death of the Inhumans #5. I mean, that cover alone, just you want to read it just because, oh my God, Lockjaw's seemingly dead, but you want to find out what the hell are they doing to the Inhumans? Because as of last issue,
it's an awesome A cover, by the way.
Yeah, and as of last issue, you find out that Vox is Maximus, but that's not the first time because they used a different Inhumans. So it's like, who's experimenting? What are they experimenting with? The Inhumans giving this. So, like I said, Donny Cates is deconstructing and constructing the Inhumans because. I mean,
nobody gives a shit about the Inhumans.
Once Disney bought Fox, you could tell the shift in focus from the Inhumans back to the X-Men.
Right.
Because prior to that, the focus was the Inhumans. They're almost like X-Men. We can do this, we can do that. The TV show sucked horribly, and that's not to say, to say whoever you can blame for the showrunner or whatever. I mean, it's the same guy that did the first season of Iron Fist, and you can tell. But I've heard that they're gonna put him on the back burner for now and come back to him later when it comes to the big screen. But comic-wise, man, Donny Cates is literally giving you, after all the last 5-6 years worth of Inhumans books, that literally from the Royals to this to the Inhuman to that to Inhumans versus X-Men, to where you're like, okay, what's going on? Now you're like, holy shit, something's going on.
Right.
So definitely talking about Donny Cates, you got the 20th anniversary of Marvel Knights brand. So there's that new miniseries coming out.
He's writing it.
He's writing
that.
So
okay.
His take and the premise looks good. He's a hell of a writer.
Yeah.
He hasn't done wrong so far.
And for those of you that don't know, Marvel Knights was like late 90s, early 2000s. Marvel took their
was there late 90s?
It was like late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
They went to that more mature.
It was like more mature, but not like rated M mature. So it was like older teens could read it. It wasn't
too bad.
Yeah, there was no F-bombs and stuff like that.
But they took it darker. They did some darker stuff. I mean, that was the Daredevil with Kevin Smith.
Right.
That's right.
You had Daredevil. You had Moon Knight had a run.
Yeah, Moon Knight had a run.
Black Panther.
Moon Knight, that run was dark.
It was one of the better Moon Knight runs.
Yeah, it was some dark stuff. So I've been enjoying Spider-Geddon, man, and all the crossovers. It's crazy, but it's like they're fun reads, and it's like, yeah, we had a discussion about how this is Spider-Verse retold, but they got this cartoon coming out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So call it what you want. They're milking it, whatever, but it's good and it's selling. I mean, you have Spider-Girl, Spider-Gwen. You got all Vault of Spiders, Spider Force, and they're bringing all these characters. Kane, you know, his series is like, you're gonna see Ben Reilly in there. You know, you're gonna see a lot of. I'm loving it. Solid package.
It kind of feels like when these Marvel's doing it in general, when the characters aren't doing so well on their own, they package them together, like the Champions, you know, with the Amadeus Cho.
Yeah, I mean, individually the books, but together, and that book is coming out this week. Yeah. I don't want to put up, but I've been enjoying Zub's Champions, and I'm starting to like these kids. I'm starting to like. I don't know if I like Riri Williams in her own book,
but as a team member,
but I like her in Champions.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever like Miles Morales in his own book, but I like him in Spider-Man.
Right.
Kid Nova, all these characters. You got that Snow, that new character they created, kind of another Canadian Alpha Flight kind of character. You got a lot of small pieces that are working together as a team. Can't say enough about Immortal Hulk after that last issue. Woo! I mean, again, superhero horror. It's crazy. I mean, you have jars of the Hulk. Like, I mean, what's gonna happen? You know, and you got number 8 coming on next week, and like I said, Al Ewing. I mean, he's been doing stuff for a while, here and there, but this Immortal Hulk
kind of finding his voice,
dude. Yeah. This Immortal Hulk about Al Ewing. I mean, if you guys missed it, Marvel has later printings. It's gotta be a must read on your like, what am I gonna read that I missed? Immortal Hulk, dude, it's insane. It's insane. You got Infinity Wars number 5. Looks like they're going back. It felt like they were milking it. It felt like one of those. My wife's Latin, and we watch a lot of novellas in our household. And I remember novellas back in 10 years ago that were really popular, and to milk it, they added story that was unnecessary.
Right.
It feels like that. You adding, you know,
I got this filler.
You know, I gotta milk it to some extent. I like the amalgamization of the characters they did, kind of throwback to the amalgam between Marvel and DC.
Right.
More action figures coming your way. Who knows what's gonna stick, you know? But I'm ready for this book too, because I want to see what the hell's gonna happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm hearing so much about Avengers Infinity and Captain Marvel in the movie, and I know they parallel to some extent. I want this thing to. I want to see this. X-Men Red, man. I mean, such a solid read.
Another sweet Jenny Frison cover as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's a solid read. I mean, you can tell. Like I said, everything else is done, and you got Uncanny X-Men coming out in a couple of weeks.
I think on a cinematic level, I wouldn't say concern, but my biggest question is how they're gonna tie all this together. Like, how are they gonna all of a sudden introduce mutants?
Look, I mean, you can easily do it. What I've always said, man, as long as you have time travel, cosmic cubes, Infinity Stones, you can do anything.
This is true. That's my theory too. Is like with everything going back in time, that's gonna cause an event to happen where people start developing
something
powers.
Or I heard that they come out because it's too much. So you might see
like they've been hiding.
Yeah, they've been hiding all this time because they don't want to be dealt with. But because this threat, because again, it's not just Avengers 2. The story keeps going.
Right.
So whatever 2 is in store, that doesn't end.
Right.
Because it keeps going, you know. So people got to remember. I don't know if a lot of people remember, but X-Men, since Claremont took Lin Wayne's Giant Size, X-Men was the flagship title for Marvel for years. Well into the 90s with the Jim Lee and Portacio run. I mean, literally, they've destroyed it on purpose when they couldn't acquire their rights back from Fox 7 years ago. And they said, you know what, we're done with this, you know, no more. So it's got to come back to that. Yeah, you got a lot of other books, but dude, X-Men got me reading Marvel.
I mean, yeah, that's what I grew up with. I if you look at my old books, I have no Spider-Man, no nothing. It's all Wolverine.
And I mean, I had all of them, but
X-Men.
X-Men was the book that, I mean, outside of G.I. Joe, because G.I. Joe got me into comics. But at that time when I was buying G.I. Joe, Secret Wars and Crisis was about to end. So I picked up Secret Wars, and it was the issue with Hulk holding the mountain. And I got to see the X-Men. They were in the village. Colossus became my favorite character, and I just got hooked on the X-Men after that. I think my first Uncanny X-Men issue was the Hellions issue, first appearance of Warpath. And that shit was bad. I mean, it was bad. And I went back. Literally, that's the only book I went back and bought
right
everything else. I didn't care, so X-Men was the shits back in the day, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see that
it ain't going nowhere, folks.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna talk about the Netflix and Marvel situation. It's been about a month, or maybe a little over a month now, that Netflix decided to cancel Iron Fist
and Luke Cage,
and then quickly thereafter Luke Cage. So the Heroes for Hire are done on Netflix as they stand. Daredevil season 3 dropped last week or 2 weeks ago, and we came across an article on CBR. Not quite sure. Daniel's got some issues with the article because it uses a website that. Now, what does the website do again?
I'm not sure what the website's called, but basically you have to sign up for it, and it only uses data from what you sign up for, and it only tracks your clicks. So, like, if you click on something, it'll track, like, oh, look at our user base. They clicked on all this, so they can kind of gauge what, like, the numbers are for Netflix analytics. Have you signed up for the website?
No, I never heard of it.
Exactly. So that's my biggest issue. It's how much data. Out of the millions and millions of subscribers, are we talking about 1,000 people?
Right.
And that's their numbers, and so the viewership's down from there. Does that talk about the whole company as a whole? I don't think so. They've been quiet about it, but they've renewed Jessica Jones. They've renewed The Punisher.
Right.
If Daredevil comes out and gets renewed again, who knows? My theory is that they might be canceling things behind the scenes in order to prep their Disney platform.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, because we all know that Marvel's acquiring all this content, and that's going to basically lead to their own streaming channel. That's the end game. That's a big reason for the Fox purchase, more than anything, was for them to get all of that content.
Because who knows how much the rights are? Like, for every season, maybe Netflix has to pay $50 million per character, and it's not worth it anymore.
Right.
I don't know, whatever. I don't know.
But the article stated that the Daredevil views were down 60% from the last season, and from everything that I've read so far, people love this third season. It's been a good show, and Jessica Jones did pretty well as well, and The Punisher killed it. So I don't know. I'm just kind of curious to see where this goes, because eventually those rights are going to go away. Marvel's going to take everything back and do their own thing. So. Yeah, that's all we want to talk about real quick.
Yeah, I think I just want to end it. I think it's a little BS, the article, but one day those numbers will come out.
Right.
And they'll either exceed all of our expectations, not for Daredevil, but Netflix programming as a whole.
And that's
they keep them to the chest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Nobody knows exactly what numbers Netflix is doing.
So for like some company to proclaim they know, it's already for me.
The only thing I know is Netflix keeps spending money,
and they're in debt
to make creative.
Yeah.
Well, they're in debt, but are they really in debt? That's the thing. We don't know.
They keep adding $10 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
To their debt
exactly.
every year.
So that's released. That we know.
No, I know.
So we have no idea what's going on.
The investors are still okay.
Yeah,
with
the investors are believing in it. So somebody's wrong here. But anyways, make sure to stick around for the variant picks of the week, and thanks for watching the segment.
See you next week.
Spider-Gwen Ghost #1, the 1 in 100 by the Korean guy Jung something or other. I forgot his name. We told you last week the book's selling for $250. Well, I have 2 confirmed sales as of November 1st, $750. And plus another one that was asking $8, and they took best offer, which I'm assuming is probably around $700. It's got to be around
7, yeah.
7. Someone got it. Somehow someone's got a hookup at CGC. Already got a 9.8 up. They're asking $2,100 for it. We'll see if somebody buys it, but $250 to $750 in a week.
And I know a friend that had one, and he sold his in the shop for $180. And when you text me at the show, he was at the show, and I sent the text like, I sold mine for $180, and it was on bids on Sunday at the LA Kamikaze show. It was at what, $480?
Yeah,
$450.
Yeah, it was like $4 or $5.
So that was within 3 days.
Yeah.
But again, I keep saying it's that low print run. You're talking Spider-Gwen. They canceled the regular series. I mean, that book wasn't huge in numbers. I guarantee you, this book is not going to be huge in numbers either. So for them, they wanted those numbers. They did it 1 in 100. A few crazy motherfuckers went 1 in 100, and that's why it is. It's that low print run, and it's not necessarily disease, but it's you gotta watch. I mean, look, get it like he says every week. You can afford it. It's either a week worth of coffee at Starbucks or this comic book.
Yeah.
you know, and make the sacrifice, buy the 1 in 100.
And there's,
you know,
there were so many telltale signs. Number one, it's a beautiful cover. It's an amazing cover, a new artist that nobody's ever heard of either. So like,
there's a lot of those guys coming out from Marvel.
Exactly. But I mean, there's that. There's a character who's, I mean, her first appearance. What's Edge of Spider-Verse going for? The first print.
Dude, that thing just jumped up again. Yeah, because it dropped for a while, and now, well, buddy of mine again following, because he has one. He's trying, you know, graded 9.8. I think he's asking like almost 3,500 or something like that.
I mean, raw. I saw there was a copy like a couple months ago that went like 1,500 for a raw copy of it.
It's nuts.
Again, so people like this character, and
well, it's the movie too, the cartoon that's coming. She's in there, so,
right?
And again, it all depends where everything falls. Will you see her on a live action situation by who, Marvel or DC?
Right.
Is this a Marvel character?
Sony,
Sony. Is this a Marvel character or is this a Sony character?
Right.
If it's a Marvel character, man, sky's the limit.
Yeah, things going through. I mean, if you guys have been paying attention, all the Captain Marvel stuff is like just skyrocketing.
Kamala Khan, all her appearances went up again.
Yeah, because she's going to be in the Captain Marvel movie as well.
Yeah, so it's like, again,
just
it's a risk, but it's a calculated risk. Look, I was having this conversation earlier with a friend of mine about how throughout the years, you look at the stock market, up and down, bonds, up and down, every other investment property, up and down. The only thing that's been stable, if you follow it, if you pay attention, has been comics. Comics go up.
Yeah.
I mean, and more so in the older stuff, Silver Age and Golden Age, but even the new stuff, they go up and they hold and they keep going up. With each sale, it just jumps another percent, 10, 20%. 30% at times, you know, it's crazy.
All right, well, let's get into the variants of the week. If you're getting DC this week, it's Matina week all week. He's got 3 covers.
Dude, they
got
should just Batman. Instead of DC, it should be DM.
Yeah, just DM.
Or BM, by Matina.
By Matina. You got Batman, you got Deathstroke, you got Justice League.
And that Batman cover is so
Oh, yeah,
pretty.
with Penguin on it. Real nice.
So pretty. Even the Aquaman one, the Justice League.
And if you notice, just quick thought on the Aquaman stuff, you can see they're starting to push the Jason Momoa looking version of
Well, it's the movie coming
Aquaman.
out because they did. I remember when the Justice League movie came out, they had their month of variants, which looked like Ben Affleck, Cavill, and Gadot. They had those variant covers, the movie variant covers, so they're gonna push it. They want people to go see it.
They're pushing the movie now. You're gonna see a lot of variant covers with them on it, but this is Matina's rendition, and it's wonderful. The Marvel Knights #1, a variant by Carrie Andrews. It's amazing. It's awesome Daredevil and Kingpin cover. Like Carrie Andrews lately has been killing it, man. So if you guys
He's been around for a while. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
This stuff that's coming out as of the past year or so has been just
and a lot of guys have upped their game. That's the thing.
They're stepping it up.
And they're because they're doing these covers, they're not doing art, so they get to really focus on the art, on the image. So you got some sweet stuff coming out.
Absolutely. I pick it all the time. The WWE variant, they always put out like a 1 in 50 or 1 in 25 variant. You can get it on Boom for $10 to $15. This week is Iron Sheik. So all these classic 80s wrestlers, you don't know how much time Iron Sheik has left if you look at the lifespan of these other wrestlers. So he goes to a signing, you get this book, you get it signed, it's golden. All these things I know from experience. I've done really well with these variants, and it's by Raza too. So you already know it's like a dope ass cover. But that's gonna do it for variants this week.
You got suggestions? Let us know. I mean, you know,
exactly.
We're open.
Comments, leave comments. People are watching. Nobody's leaving comments, so leave some comments.
I know I love to talk, but let me know what do you want to talk about, and give me a phone call.
Absolutely.
But again, every week support your local comic book store. Don't let these guys hang on their pull lists. You know, it's money that gets tied up. Pick it up. You know, it's hard when stuff comes out, sells out. I mean, very few guys actually stick to it. But, dude, if a book goes out and it's $50, $60, you might not get it. And then don't blame them, but because it's their money tied up. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours, you know. But, again, support print, support comics. And I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.